The August sun burned relentlessly overhead as I tore through the community dumpster behind our HOA office building, digging with frantic, trembling hands. Sweat streamed down my face while I ripped open bag after bag of trash. Buried somewhere in this filthy mountain of garbage were my heart medications, the pills that literally kept me alive. With every passing minute without them, I felt my chest tightening, a pressure growing that no amount of deep breathing could ease. That's when I heard her voice behind me, dripping with smug satisfaction. Well, Thomas Mitchell, isn't it? I froze. Karen Peaton, our HOA president, stood with her arms crossed, wearing the expression of someone who believed she'd just uncovered a crime scene. I hope you're not making an even bigger mess of our pristine community area, she added. I turned toward her, trash stuck to my shirt, panic cracking my voice. Karen, please. Did you throw away a package from Westfield Pharmacy? It had my heart medications in it. She tilted her head with exaggerated sympathy. Oh, you mean those unsightly pill bottles cluttering your front porch? Yes, I properly disposed of that litter. Pill bottles left outside create a community eyesore and are a clear violation of our aesthetic standards. Let me explain how I ended up in this nightmare. My name is Tom Mitchell, and I've lived in Maplewood Heights for 3 years. It's one of those picture-perfect suburban developments where every lawn looks professionally maintained, and every mailbox is painted the exact same shade of white. I moved here after my divorce, hoping for peace, a quiet place to manage my severe heart condition. My cardiologist put me on a strict regimen of medications I must take at precise times every day. Blood thinners, beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, all of them delivered monthly by Westfield Pharmacy in a secured, locked basket on my front porch. The system worked perfectly for 2 years, until Karen Peaton decided my medical reality was her newest personal crusade. Karen had been HOA president for only 6 months, yet in that short time, she had evolved from a normal neighbor into something resembling a suburban dictator. She patrolled the streets with a clipboard, measuring grass lengths, scrutinizing paint swatches, and issuing violation notices for the most ridiculous infractions imaginable. Just last month, she fined Mrs. Chen $50 because her garden gnome was apparently non-regulation height, but Karen's campaign had recently escalated. She'd begun what she proudly called proactive community beautification, which essentially meant removing anything she personally found unattractive without warning. Garden decor, welcome mats, and even children's toys left outside overnight began disappearing. Mysteriously, I should have predicted what would happen when she started leaving passive-aggressive notes about my pharmaceutical clutter. The locked basket wasn't visible from the street, positioned discreetly beside my front door, but Karen had apparently been observing it from her living room window across the street to see if it was a security threat. 3 days ago, I returned from my part-time job at the library to find my porch completely empty. The locked basket was gone along with my entire monthly medication delivery that had arrived earlier that morning. My neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, was watering her flowers when she noticed my panic. "Tom, are you okay?" she asked gently. "My medications are missing. The whole delivery basket is gone." Mrs. Rodriguez glanced nervously toward Karen's house and lowered her voice. "I saw her earlier with bolt cutters and a garbage bag. She was muttering about removing unauthorized trash containers." My heart actually skipped a beat, not figuratively, but physically. Without my medications, my arrhythmia would return within hours, and my blood pressure would surge to dangerous levels. I had maybe a day before things became life-threatening. I went straight to Karen's door, forcing my voice to stay level. "Karen, I need my medications back immediately. They're not trash, they're prescription drugs that keep me alive." She opened the door with that infuriating, self-satisfied smile she reserved for moments she believed she was enforcing justice. "Thomas, I understand you're upset, but community standards apply to everyone. Those pill bottles were creating an unattractive display and violated Section 12.4 of our aesthetic guidelines. Karen, they weren't display items. They were life-saving medications secured in a locked, discreet container." "Locked or not," she replied, "they were visible from certain angles and constituted clutter. I disposed of them according to proper waste management protocols. The way she said disposed made my blood go cold. You threw them away? Those medications cost over $800 and can't be replaced for 3 weeks. That sounds like a personal problem, Thomas. Perhaps next time you'll plan more appropriately and avoid compromising our community's visual standards. She actually began closing the door. I put my hand out to stop it, chest tightening again. Karen, going to have a medical emergency without those pills. Please just tell me which dumpster you used. Don't you dare threaten me, Thomas Mitchell. Remove your hand before I call the police for harassment. That night was the longest of my life. I could feel my heart rhythm slipping out of sync. The monitor displaying readings that would terrify any doctor. If I went to the hospital, they'd only give me a few days' worth of medication, and my insurance wouldn't cover a new prescription for weeks. By morning, desperation pushed me to search every dumpster in the neighborhood. That's how I ended up elbow deep in trash when Karen found me behind the HOA office. I told you yesterday, Thomas, she scolded. Those pills were disposed of properly, and I won't have you creating a mess in our waste management area. Karen, I'm having chest pains. This isn't a game. She actually laughed. Oh, stop being dramatic. If you were truly having an emergency, you'd be in a hospital, not digging through garbage like some vagrant. That was the moment I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Karen's smirk faltered. 911. What's your emergency? This is Tom Mitchell at 1247 Maple Drive. I'm experiencing cardiac symptoms because someone threw away my heart medications. I need an ambulance and police assistance. Sir, did you say someone threw away your medications? Yes. The HOA president confiscated my prescription drugs from my porch and disposed of them. I'm having chest pains and difficulty breathing. Karen's face drained of color. You can't seriously be calling the police over HOA regulations. The operator stayed on the line as I explained everything. Within minutes, sirens echoed through Maplewood Heights. 2 police officers and an ambulance crew arrived almost at the same time. Officer Martinez approached first, taking in the sight of me covered in garbage, while Karen stood neatly beside her clipboard, pretending she had done absolutely nothing wrong. Sir, you called about missing medications? Officer Martinez asked. Yes, officer. This woman is Karen Peetson, our HOA president. 3 days ago, she removed a locked container with my heart medications from my porch and threw them away. I've been without my cardiac prescriptions for more than 48 hours. Officer Martinez turned to Karen. Ma'am, is this accurate? Karen straightened, gripping her clipboard like it was a shield. Officer, I was enforcing community standards in accordance with our homeowners association guidelines. Those pill bottles constituted litter and violated our aesthetic regulations. Ma'am, he pressed. Are you saying you removed prescription medications from this man's property? I removed unsightly clutter compromising our community's visual standards. The fact that it happened to be medication is irrelevant to the violation. Officer Martinez exchanged a sharp glance with his partner, Officer Chen. Ma'am, prescription medications are not clutter. They are medical necessities. Where did you dispose of them? Karen gestured proudly toward the dumpster. Right there in the appropriate waste receptacle. I followed proper disposal protocols. You threw prescription drugs in a dumpster? I disposed of community litter according to established procedures, she insisted. Officer Chen documented everything while the paramedics checked my vitals. My blood pressure was dangerously high, and my heart rhythm was visibly unstable on their portable EKG. Sir, we need to get you to the hospital immediately, the lead paramedic said. These readings show you're in immediate cardiac distress. Officer Martinez looked back at Karen, his tone harder now. Ma'am, you realize you may have endangered this man's life? That's ridiculous. HOA regulations clearly state unauthorized items cannot be stored on porches. I was within my rights to remove violations. Ma'am, HOA regulations don't override state and federal laws. Tampering with someone's prescription medication is a serious criminal offense. For the first time, Karen's confidence wavered. Crime? I was enforcing community standards. Ma'am, please show us exactly where you disposed of the medications. Karen led us to the large dumpster behind the HOA office. still clutching her clipboard as if it might somehow protect her from reality. Officer Chen took photographs while Officer Martinez began pulling garbage bags aside. "Here," Karen said, pointing. "I disposed of the litter in this section yesterday morning." What Officer Martinez uncovered made everyone fall silent. Scattered among coffee grounds and rotting food were ripped open pill bottles. Prescription labels with my name and dosage instructions were clearly visible. Some pills were loose, smeared with garbage. Others still in their bottles were contaminated by spoiled food. "Jesus Christ," Officer Martinez muttered before regaining composure. "Ma'am, do you understand what you've done?" Karen stared at the evidence: the labeled bottles, the tablets, my medical information mixed with trash, and her face changed as the truth finally hit her. I was just enforcing the rules," she whispered. "Ma'am, you've destroyed roughly $800 worth of prescription medication and created a health hazard by mixing pharmaceutical waste with household garbage. You also endangered this man's life by preventing him from accessing life-sustaining treatment." Officer Chen photographed every bottle, label, and spilled pill. The evidence was overwhelming. "Ma'am," Officer Martinez said, "turn around and place your hands behind your back." "What? You can't be serious. I'm the HOA president. I was doing my job." "Ma'am, you're under arrest for reckless endangerment, destruction of property, and improper disposal of pharmaceutical waste." As Officer Martinez read Karen her rights, I watched the woman who had terrorized our neighborhood for months finally face consequences. Her clipboard slipped from her hand as the cuffs snapped into place. "This is insane," she repeated. "I was following HOA guidelines. You can't arrest me for enforcing community standards." "Ma'am," Officer Martinez replied, "HOA guidelines don't give you the right to steal and destroy someone's prescription medications. You're facing potential felony charges." Neighbors had gathered, drawn by the sirens. These were the same people who had endured Karen's constant nitpicking, fines, and threats. Now, they watched in stunned silence as she was escorted to the police car. "Mrs. Rodriguez whispered to Mrs. Chen, I can't believe she actually threw away his heart medications. She's been getting worse every month," Mrs. Chen replied. "Last week, she told me my mailbox was 2 inches too far from the curb. As paramedics loaded me into the ambulance, I heard Officer Martinez explaining that this was a criminal investigation, not an HOA issue. At the hospital, doctors confirmed my fear. My cardiac readings were dangerously unstable, and I was mere hours away from a potentially fatal arrhythmia. They immediately started intravenous medications while arranging emergency replacements. Mr. Mitchell, Dr. Stevens told me, you're very lucky you came in. Another day without your medications could have resulted in cardiac arrest." Meanwhile, at the police station, Karen was learning that the HOA authority meant nothing in the real world. The charges were severe: first-degree reckless endangerment, theft of prescription medications, destruction of property, and improper disposal of pharmaceutical waste. Her husband had to hire a criminal defense attorney, and within hours, the story hit the local news. HOA president arrested for throwing away neighbors' heart medications became the lead headline on 3 stations. Westfield Pharmacy provided documentation of the medication's value, and my cardiologist submitted a detailed medical report explaining the life-threatening emergency Karen caused. 2 weeks later, once I'd recovered enough, I attended the emergency HOA meeting called to address her arrest. The room was filled with neighbors who had suffered under her increasingly authoritarian leadership. "We need to discuss the immediate removal of Karen Peaton as HOA president," announced board member David Walsh. The vote wasn't close. 37 residents voted for her removal. Only 2 abstained. Not a single person voted in her favor. Karen's criminal trial was scheduled for October, but her attorney advised her to accept a plea deal. She ultimately pled guilty to reckless endangerment and received 18 months in prison, 3 years probation, and an order to pay $8,000 in restitution covering my medical bills, replacement prescriptions, and legal fees. When the judge read the sentence, Karen's face went completely white. 18 months? For HOA violations? She whispered. "Ma'am," the judge replied. This is not about HOA violations. You endangered a man's life by destroying his life-sustaining medications.